think, act, and prosper. You are now tuned into the Money Level Show.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Money Level Show, where we think, act, and prosper. Today I want to give you all some stock updates I have alerted you on a while ago. So some of you may have jumped in these trades. I actually jumped in these trades and I think that they were actually pretty profitable. So we're going to go ahead and dive into a few different stocks, and then I'm also going to give you all one stock pick that I actually have on my portfolio and why I hold them in my portfolio and the benefits of having that stock. And so let's go ahead and get into it. First stock is MJ. This is a alternative harvest ETF. So that's a nice way of saying marijuana stock. So these stocks actually began running when you're looking at it. These stocks were beaten down pretty bad, especially into the year. I alerted them back in December. They were pretty cheap then they got really, really cheap. And then now we're starting to see a bounce back because there is a bill at the House of Representatives, and it is for the legalization of marijuana. Now, whether that goes through or not, I mean, time will tell. But these stocks are beginning to run. So I've been in position for a while, and now I'm starting to see these profits actually pay off. So that's one stock. I mean, some of the other ones that I actually alerted you on were like CGC, Canopy Growth, which Canopy Growth actually went really low earlier this month, and then now it's looking pretty bullish. We'll see what happens with it on Monday, but I mean, it's been running up since then, so it's almost back up to the February high. So if you would have been buying down here, you would have been quite a bit up if you'd have been dollar cost averaging down. So it's cool. They bounced back and everything, so that's good. Another sector that I told you all about was the agriculture stocks such as Mosaic and NTR. So Mosaic actually does they actually do fertilizer. So Mosaic has just been running. I mean, it's up to 71.34. I actually bought a few call options. I've been buying Mosaic since around $50 over here. That was when I heard about it and started purchasing it, and now it's at 71. So I'm up quite a bit on that. However, I started playing some options on it too because of just the macro outlook on agriculture. I mean, we talked about this, the food crisis. We had the Canadian railway strike, all those different things. So I went and bought some call options. I mean, it went up to about $64. It corrected here. It went through a nice little correction, about $55. I mean, even around here, it was a nice little correction, about $52. I bought a couple call options for about $85 for June, and the stock has just been running up. I mean, now it's at $71. I was able to cash those options out for about 300%. And so, I mean, pretty much I spent about $100 on them, and they ended up being worth about $350 each. So that was pretty cool profit to take, and, just to look at the macro outlook and to invest based off of the macro. I didn't really even look at the charts because I just knew that they were going to go up based off the macro factors. And let's look at NTR. So I've told you all about Nutrien. I've been in Nutrien for a long time, since like last year sometime. And we're just seeing Nutrien actually just run up. I mean, it's up to about $108. I've been in Nutrien since it was about $50, and now it's at about $108. So I've already done doubled my money in this stock. I mean, the agriculture sector is just going off. And I mean, we brought Jim Rogers on. He told us about this. So these were some of the plays that I actually played. Here's a couple ones that I'm looking at playing right now that I'm actually watching. So Apple, for example. Let's pull up Apple. Apple has just been on a tear. It's just been day after day. So we're on a daily chart. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 days of just bullishness. It's just been going up for 9 days straight. So I'm actually playing a put option on Apple. We'll see how that plays out. However, these stocks don't just go up forever, right? So it's been going on a tear 9 days straight. It needs to have a pullback. It needs to correct, consolidate before it decides to go higher or whatnot. So, I mean, you may get some resistance up in this area about 176 or somewhere around there. Those will look like some resistance lines. It tried to break above 177 back here on January, and I think it was around January 14th, something like that. It tried to break above again here in February between the 7th and the 14th on this candle right here. This is the first one in January that it tried to break above. It didn't break above. Then it fell. It fell as low as 154. Then it started to climb back up, chopped sideways a little bit, came down, fell down to 151. It tried to rise above again, couldn't get above this line right here. So then it came down to about 150, and now it's just been day after day just going up, and now it's at 174. So I'm actually shorting this with a put option because I just think that these stocks don't just go up every day without corrections like that. I mean, look at most of the candles that you see on here. You're not really seeing 9 days of straight gains, right? You're seeing some chops. I mean, there's some red days, where things get red, but even on the red candles going down, like 1, 2, this was a bullish day, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're not even seeing, even on these red candles, 9 straight, where this one right here is just going up. So I'm actually looking at shorting this because things don't go up straight forever. And that's a lot of misconceptions that people have about the market. Now, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get into a stock that I actually own. And this is a tobacco company stock. Obviously, people invest based off their convictions or whatnot. But I have my reasons for investing in tobacco. Mostly because they're profitable companies and they're trustworthy during inflation and all those different things. I'm sure the price of cigarettes have went up. I personally don't smoke, but I think that, I could profit off of this. So if you look at it, March of 2021, it'll hit about 52, and then it went down, and everything went all the way down to about 42 back in November, and then it's just been climbing back up, right? So this stock is it's important, like when you look at like the tobacco companies, because there was Congress made some laws, I believe it was in the 90s or something, where new tobacco companies could not be created. So you have these few tobacco companies that actually have the industry just sold up. It's very few. If you think about it, it's almost like big tech, but except this is big tobacco, and you cannot create more tobacco companies because of what the Senate had passed. So these companies are just rolling in cash because they can't create anymore. They have very little competition, and so they're just rolling in cash. So this is MO, which is ALTRIA. We're going to actually look at some of their financials right now as well. So we can just see what are they bringing in and everything like that. So let's look at it. So this is in thousands. So whenever you're looking at a balance sheet, the first zero is 1,000 because all numbers in thousands, right? This is 10,000s, 100,000s, millions, 10 millions, 100 millions, billions, tens of billions, right? So you look at, 12/31/2021, they brought in about $21 billion in revenue, right? Then they had their operating expenses, which was about $2 billion and everything. And you look at just other things they had brought in. They had the pre-tax income, tax provisions. You can get into all this stuff if you want, but I look at some of the main components, which is like the total expenses. So their total expenses for the year added up was actually $9 billion, and they brought in gross profit $13 I mean, almost 14 billion. So this is the gross profit. So you had your total revenue, then you had your cost of the revenue. So that's minus from 21 billion. And, you left with about 14 billion. Then you have your expenses, and the total expenses is, about 9.5 billion, right? So yeah, so I mean, it looks like they get some good cash flows. If you look at the balance sheet, for example, you see their total assets. I mean, if you really want to break them down, their current assets, non-current assets. So 47.5 billion in assets. Well, actually, looking at 2021, they had about 40 billion in assets, right? And then you're looking at their capitalization and all these different things. So, their total debt is at 28 billion. So, with their total assets at 39 billion, the total debt at 28 billion, they can actually pay their debt off if they really want to. So this company has some good financials. Even looking at their operating cash flow, this is cash that they actually have on hand. As you can see, they have about $8.5 billion in cash on hand, right? And then you look at some of the other things, their debts, repayments of debts and things like that. But their free cash flow is 8.2 billion. So they have cash on hand to be able to, pay things off if they really wanted to. But I'm sure they're just collecting cash. So this is a stock that I invest in. They actually pay a really, really good dividend, right? So, just holding them, you actually get paid quite a bit. Their dividend is 6.86%, which pretty much, breaks down to, $3.60 per share every year. So this is broken up by quarter. So every quarter they pay out 6.86%, which usually leads to somewhere around $3.60 per share. So imagine if you just owned a lot of shares of this. Obviously it's at, $53. If you're owning a lot of shares of it, it's going to be a lot of money, but you're getting paid to hold the shares. So this is good, especially while you're dealing with inflation and all those different things. You want to be able to get paid for some of the assets that you own, especially just to hedge yourself against inflation. So inflation is taking money out of your pockets if it's stagnant. But with the growth of the shares as well as the dividend, I think that this is a good stock. So I'm in this stock. So if this was helpful, be sure to press the like button. Be sure to hit the subscribe, drop a comment below. Webull is doing a special, and they have it where you can get 5 free stocks. I can get free stocks as well if you sign up. So be sure to click that link in the description below if you are interested in signing up on Webull and receiving some free money, because I like free money, right? So I want to thank you all for joining the Money Level Show today, and y'all have a good day. Peace.